My name is Rick Atwater. I'm a licensed clinical professional counselor. My specialty is addictions, and I've been working with addicts and family members since 1982. What I want to share with you is opiate issues that you hear people talking about today. That they call it an epidemic. I started to see more heroin-related cases, mostly family members coming in asking what they can do for their kid. And we started a group called the Heroin Awareness Foundation. Our mission was to educate and increase awareness about the heroin problem at that time. And this was really the beginning of the community becoming aware of the heroin problem. Overdose deaths continue to rise. They continue to this day. We did what we could then. But we want to do more, which is why we want to tell the story that we're going to present to you today. This story that you're about to see is just one story, but it is representative of the 130 people who die in this country every day from opioid addiction overdose. Some of you probably have been affected by addiction. Many of you are likely to have been affected by addiction. Not all of you affected by the heroin epidemic, but by addiction to other things. So watching this documentary might be troublesome for you, might cause you to have feelings that are uncomfortable. So we want you to understand that those feelings are normal. And we hope that you will talk to somebody about those things. Others of you have not been affected by addiction. This might help you to see the size of the problem we face.
Well, God's the reason I'm sitting here now, because I almost didn't make it. How I found out it was heroin, we were kind of hanging out outside. We were at a park bench and we were talking, and he just out the blue said, Mom, I need help with something. And I thought, what is it? What did you do? I'm thinking you got somebody pregnant, or I'm thinking, what did you do? And he said, it's heroin. And I said, what's that? It didn't even register to me what he said. And he said, Mom, heroin, the drug heroin. And I just was completely floored. It took a lot for me to come here because I felt shame for a long time. Well, my goal is not really to help me, because, I have to help me. But I think our goal was to help somebody else. In my own experience, the only thing that helped me with my depression is when I helped somebody else. When I volunteered, like I'm going to be at the Harris House on the 20th for their Christmas party. I do that every year. So that was the only thing that helped me, is when I helped somebody else. So just to give you a background on how Anthony was, he just was a real helpful type of kid. He had lots of friends, went to normal schools, never got in trouble ever, never arrested. It began to change for him when he probably hit age 13. He began to exhibit depression, signs of anxiety, anger. I took him to doctors, psychiatrists, who then put him on different mental health medications to help with, what he was experiencing. But really, none of it helped. I almost feel like it made it worse. It came to a point where I remember going to his room on his dresser and seeing about 10 different medication bottles. And that just really made me sad. Fast forward to high school, he still experienced some of the same anxiety issues, but he got through high school. He graduated high school on time. Throughout his life, we talked about drugs. I didn't think that drugs would even enter his life, not street drugs. would enter his life because we talked about it all the time. He wasn't a kid that you would think would be a victim of that, considering he had supportive family. He went to a good school. He lived in a good neighborhood. He never got in trouble. You don't think that that kid would get in trouble with drugs. Anthony was real helpful type of person. Almost to a fault, I would think that he was kind of gullible, too trusting. 2 years after his graduation, I noticed different behavior. He would not come home, or Anthony, he was spending a lot of money. I thought maybe he was drinking. Never in a million years did I think heroin. I was on a mission to try to get him help, the help that I thought he needed, because, I heard about heroin, but I didn't know anything about it. Marijuana, never. Just on medication that was prescribed by a psychiatrist. But that's the shocking thing. It wasn't no history. It wasn't anything. It just literally hit me out of the blue. So I thought, okay, get him in rehab. He'll be fine after that. Rehab, and he's done with that. So I did. I got him in rehab. He stayed 30 days. And when he got out of rehab, he was doing really good. And then I started noticing same behavior and same people I would see him hanging out with, or he'll bring to the house. And, I had those conversations with him. And one thing that he told me that he learned, that, a key part of being successful was to change the people, places, and things. And I told him that's true. You can't be successful in this and hang around people that are doing the things that you're trying not to do. It's just eventually you're going to, succumb to that, to your environment. And like I said, he did good for like 2 months, and then I started noticing same behavior, nodding off, sleepy, not coming home. Same things that, I noticed before, and same people. And we got in an argument because I was upset about, what I thought or knew he was doing. And he got real angry with me. He yelled at me. He said, nasty things to me, and he left out. And I didn't see him until the next morning. So when he came in, I was getting ready for work. It was like 6 a.m. And, well, you don't know this about me, but I'm like deathly afraid of rodents. So he was in the kitchen, and he called me, and he goes, "Mom, come here." And I go running. I go, what's going on? And he goes, "I saw a mouse." There was no mouse. We didn't have mice, but he knew that. And I just literally jumped on the table and started screaming. And I look at him, and he's laughing, like fall out laughing. He was like, "Mom, I'm just kidding." Now that I think about it, I knew that was his way to break the ice with me from the night before. And, I apologized, for the night before he did. And I told him that, I just want to see him win. I just want to see good things from him. And, we had a good conversation, and I continued to get ready for work. And he walked me to the door, and he said, "See you later, Mom." And I said, "See you later," and never saw him later, because he left and went to a friend's house that was, 2 blocks away. And he overdosed that day. Shortly after I got home from work, I had a police officer come to my door and let me know. The boy who ended up leaving Anthony was a boy he met in rehab. So he didn't even really know him that long. He was 20 years old. And he was, when I would talk to him, he had only been on heroin for 9 months. And that was in 2014. And it's still hard today today I still don't even believe it, because I look at this boy here and I don't understand how this happened to him. And that's what the thinking needs to change, because people think that it's these people that are homeless or these bad people, and it's not. It's people that's like everyday kids that never get in trouble. That it's like in your backyards. It's everywhere. It's not these little throwaway kids that people think it is. It can happen to anyone. You know, I don't know much about it, but they did bring that up to him when he was in rehab. And I go, why don't you want to take this? I guess it's something to help them after, or help them not get high. I don't know what it is. But he would say, no, Mom, that's like saying I'm going to do it. That's like defeating. I'm not going to, you know. And, you know, he didn't take it, and he's not here. Well, maybe I should have pushed him to do what the doctor was saying, you know. At the time, I didn't know the pull or the power that heroin had on people. I just was unaware of it. A thing happened maybe a year after he passed away. I had someone come to the house I never met before. Young boy that wanted to let me know that how good of a friend Anthony was to him. He let me know that he was addicted to heroin and he overdosed, and everyone left him but Anthony. Anthony stayed there and tried to bring him back and called 911. And he wanted to let me know that was the type of friend he was. And I appreciated it. I didn't know, like I said, I didn't know this boy. He said that at that time he was about a year sober after the death of Anthony, and he just now got the courage to come and talk to me. I also want to let the people know that it just doesn't affect the addicts, it affects the family. Because you know, I've never been the same. And when that happened, I landed in a psych ward myself, because I couldn't deal with what happened. I have 2 other daughters that I couldn't even take care of. I couldn't go back to work. Once I did get out, I stayed in the bed days, barely getting up to do anything. And I slowly but surely, you know, built myself back up. You know, I never really was able to go back to work the way I was, but it affects other people, it affects the people that you love. I mean, it changes their life. Everybody's life is different now because he's always missing.
If you're a family member or a friend or a classmate of someone who has an addictions problem or who has passed away from an opioid overdose, there are resources available to you. Go to a Narcotics Anonymous meeting, a Families Anonymous meeting, or an Al-Anon meeting. Those are great places to learn about the disease and to help yourself. Don't wait for other people to start their recovery. Start your own. Don't be ashamed of the person in your family who has an addiction or what's happened to them as a result of their addiction. Talk about it out loud. Use the word. Say addiction. Say heroin. Talk to your neighbors. Talk to your friends. Or get other resources to help you get unstuck.
Hearts beating, blood moving. But all those hard times won't take us down, no, no. These walls, the back and forth, walk in these halls. We need a reason to trust. Shed the light now. Breathe it in. Head, heart, soul. Let the love be the fire. Head, heart, soul. Let the love be the fire. Head, heart, soul.